Well, it's been nearly 3 months since a deadly rollover accident in Oklahoma City killed more than a dozen horses. This is video from the crash site on the Turner Turnpike. The Oklahoma Highway Patrol found that the driver fell asleep behind the wheel. He was issued a reckless driving citation. In the meantime, the horses that were remaining were taken into custody by animal control. Well, today we are learning that those 17 horses that survived are now getting a second chance at life in more ways than one. Not only did they manage to survive that crash, but we've since learned that their trailer was initially headed to Mexico, where all the horses on board were set to be slaughtered. Joining us this afternoon to talk about how the horses are doing now and their future fate is Natalie Cross with Blaze's Tribute Equine Rescue. Well, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Well, this is just an incredible story, and I understand that these horses are now in your custody. That's the big news this week. They're also going to be overlooked by the U.S. Humane Society.
Yes.
So tell me, how are these horses doing now?
You know, surprisingly, they have really been through a lot, and you can still see all their visible scars and wounds, 2 months later after the wreck. Many of those were still left untreated. They're in very poor condition. They have a long road of recovery ahead of them.
So what's the biggest challenge now? I mean, I know we've got some pictures we're showing, and it's very difficult to even see some of the extent of the injuries, but I know this is an uphill battle for these guys.
It's going to be a very uphill battle, and there's a lot of issues that, it doesn't look like have been attended to since the day that wreck occurred. There's 3 that are in a very extreme condition right now that has injuries. One can barely move and walk at all. She can't put any weight down on one of her legs, and a lot of them are in extremely poor body condition. And their feet are in horrible shape. So, when it's a bittersweet moment, them coming off the trailer and arriving here, but at the same time, I couldn't prepare myself for, what I was going to be seeing.
That's what I was going to ask you. We say these horses got lucky twice. I mean, first they escaped this crash barely, but then the second thing we learned, surprisingly, they were headed for slaughter in Mexico.
Right.
What was your reaction when you heard this, and did you just take an immediate liking to these horses and want to help them?
Well, I mean, obviously, I have a huge passion for horses. I love them. I've dedicated the last 10 years of my life rescuing them from animal cruelty situations. So, yes, when they survived that initial wreck, the thought of them going on and making that trip to slaughter was just a little bit more than I think anyone, could really handle or deal with. So, we just felt that we needed to try to do something. That they didn't, they survived that. They ultimately should have a second chance at life.
Well, thanks for joining us. And I know that these animals are only in your care temporarily, but they are all up for adoption. If you want a list of all the rescued animals that are available, you can just go to our website, news9.com/links.